Eradicating child poverty and homelessness are concerning issues. Regardless of the number of children who fall into those categories, the aim should always be 0 cases. 0 may be almost impossible to achieve for a wide variety of factors, but it should still be the aim. The press release of the Ombudsman, and I welcome it, provides food for thought. We can clearly see the link with the general housing problems which currently exist. Lack of government action, buck passing and increased barriers to supply are amongst the main factors preventing the building of both public and private housing. Every time county councillors vote to stop a housing development, or every time a law passes here that makes it more difficult to build houses, the problem's made worse. There's one point contained within the Ombudsman statement which needs addressing. He says on the right to housing, the Ireland must enshrine in our constitution the right to housing for everyone in Ireland. Calling for this is a major red herring. If the government of the day want to ensure a right to housing, then they can do this through policy and action. We do not need to involve the Constitution. Perhaps the problem with such sentiment being contained in the Constitution are a different debate. But suffice to say that the goal of eradicating homelessness can be achieved without changing our Constitution and spending millions on a referendum. The millions would be better spent on building houses and effective, not ideological planning policy. I believe I've been very clear on that point a number of times, Count Corla. The Ombudsman also calls for the targeting of services. This is something I regularly call for. Often the provision of certain services is limited. The statement mentions free school meals and supports for everyday expenses to help parents with the costs of rearing their children. I would add that support such as retraining for parents, education in lifelong skills, employability training could also be targeted to help alleviate child poverty. In other words, not just a handout, but a hand up also. Both are important, but perhaps the hand up is more important when it comes to trying to break the cycle or to solve the problem on a long-term basis. How best can this be done? The problems and challenges need to be identified. How often are services evaluated based on feedback from the service recipient? It seems to me that the most state services are designed or amended based on instructions from the government with often little or no regard for the end user. I remember many months ago highlighting a topical issue with Minister Rabbitte about family carers being redesignated and removed from their clients, which was causing those with acute needs much hardship and anxiety. Thankfully, Minister Rabbitte responded and acted on the problem, but that issue just served as an example of how a major policy change in service provision did not take into account the perspective of the end user or recipient. From a business point of view, we must look at the customer needs and what the customer wants. Thankfully, in modern times, childhood poverty levels are reducing and have reduced, and so too have general poverty levels. I'm sure we've all heard our older family members tell stories of walking miles to school in bare feet, or having to share a small bedroom with lots of other siblings, or a whole variety of other things. However, this general improvement in overall poverty levels in the last century should make us even more keen to continue to help improve a lot of those worst off the best we can. Thank you, Councillor.